Hey everyone. In today's lesson, we are going to be learning and talking about the components of physical fitness. There are two types of physical fitness, skill-related and health-related fitness. Health-related fitness is a measure of a person's ability to perform a physical activity requiring endurance, strength, flexibility. Skill-related fitness components um, are required of agility, balance, coordination, reaction time, and speed. This goes through each one of those and their definitions, right? You can go through this, you can pause this video to read through, and I don't really feel the need to read it to you. You can kind of do that yourself. So speed, balance, and coordination. I also gave examples here too so that you could take a look, as well as agility and reaction time. And like I said, feel free to pause at any point to either write these down or read them. So moving back to the health-related fitness, 5 components: muscle strength, muscle endurance, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility, and body composition. The first 4 are really going to be primarily what we are going to be focusing on during our fitness logs that I will talk about later. Muscle strength, okay? The ability of your muscle or muscle group to exert its maximum force against a resistance one time through a full range of motion. Okay? Range of motion, ROM, is the degrees through which a joint can move. So think about your elbow, okay? It can go from here to here, here to here. That is my elbow, that joint. That is its full range of motion. Muscle endurance. So it's the ability of a muscle or muscle group to exert submaximal force repeatedly over a period of time. It's pretty much being able to do something for a longer period of time. So, for example, in this picture, this person is doing a plank. So if you first start it, maybe you can only do 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Over time, that time gets longer and longer. That means that you've built muscle endurance in those muscles. So strength versus endurance. To improve your muscular strength, you have to lift heavier weights than you're used to. To improve your muscular endurance, you have to lift more times or for a longer period of time, not heavier weights. Cardiovascular endurance. The ability to perform large muscle, moderate to high intensity exercises for a prolonged period of time, keeping your heart rate in your target zone. Okay? We're going to be talking about the heart rate target zone often. And in order to get that target zone for yourself, you take the number 220 and you subtract your age. Then you multiply that by 70%, 0.70, and it can go all the way up to 85%. So it's between the range of 70 to 85% of your maximum. So that's your target zone, and it's kind of like what you're looking to reach to get your cardiovascular endurance. So for example, a target heart rate zone for a 17-year-old is 142 to 173 beats per minute. So checking your heart rate, that would be the target zone. So what I want you guys to try and do is pause this video, take your age. If you're 17, you're lucky. I did that for you. But take your age and do this calculation and see what your target heart rate zone would be. Flexibility is the ability to move a joint through its complete range of motion. Body composition. It's the amount of lean body mass, bone, muscle, organs, and body fluid compared with the amount of body fat. And you can read through this. You've probably heard of something called BMI. It is an indirect measure of body composition based on height and on weight. So calculating your BMI, we are not really going to be going through the talking about BMI or working with our own BMI as much. Muscle weighs more than fat. We'll talk about that later in the year. But I did want to add this in here so that you can figure out what your BMI is. The reason why, and you can pause this to read this if you'd like, but the reason why I didn't really want to do that is because some of us have more muscle and it might actually show that you have a higher BMI than you really do. And for example, like if you look right here, 19 and below, you're at your lowest risk for premature death. And with these calculations, it can kind of be a little off. So that's why I didn't really want to go into this as much. Principles of exercise. Overload, meaning the human body stressed slightly more than you're accustomed to. Threshold of training, minimal level of exercise. Adaptation, your body adapts to the exercise level. And principle of progression, you gradually increase your overload over a period of time. These are all words I want you guys to be familiar with as we move forward with the year. Principles of exercise continued. Principle of reversibility. Pretty much that means like use it or lose it. If you're working out and you stop after about 2 weeks, you will lose what you just gained. And it works that quickly. And principle of overuse. If you overdo, it can cause chronic injuries and give fatigue. So the overload principle states that a body system needs to perform at a level beyond the normal in order to improve physiological function and fitness, in order to see results. Progression, gradual increase in the level of your exercise that is manipulated by increasing the frequency, the intensity, or the time, or even a combination of all three, right? Like if you start lifting weights and you're lifting 5-pound weights, and after a few weeks, you're like, oh, like I think I can go level up. That would be an example of progression. FIT, if you've ever heard of FIT, F-I-T-T, frequency, intensity, time, type. Frequency, how often, intensity, how intense, how long would be your time, and what kind would be the type. And you can pause here to read. Benefits of fitness. I mean, we all know that working out is extremely beneficial physically, but also mentally. Increases your energy, reduces your stress, risk of heart disease, lowers your blood pressure, and helps maintain your body weight, strengthens your heart, and stronger muscles and bones. This is a step test. If you have a stepper or a box or something at home, you can try this out. You do step ups and downs for 2 minutes, and you can count your pulse immediately after for 1 minute to determine your endurance level. So you can try that out yourself. All right, so there's 2 different types of exercises. Aerobic, which is exercises that use oxygen in order to get energy. Oxygen comes from the glucose in sugar, like bread or the fruit that we eat. Endurance exercises, so an example of aerobic exercise would be endurance exercises like long distance running or swimming. And then the other type is anaerobic, exercises that's fueled without using oxygen. So in this exercise, in your body, it's called glycogen that is being used. It's another sugar that's found in food. So activities that would be anaerobic would be strength activities in short bursts, like lifting weights or sprinting. Anaerobic and aerobic exercises can obviously definitely be used together. For example, tennis players, right? Short bursts of strength when they serve or when they hit the ball. So they're using anaerobic energy. And their bodies use aerobic energies so that they can continue to play and running back and forth, right? Competition, we all know that word. It's a contest between 2 or more people or teams. It can help improve fitness and make it fun. A lot of times when you're in a competition or you're playing sports, you don't really think that you're actually working out because you're focused on a goal, or you're having a lot of fun because you really enjoy it. That's why I really like playing sports. And sportsmanship, treating all players, officials, fans fairly during competition, makes competition fun for players, fans, and officials. And that's like my goal for you guys this year, is to try and make it fun, or as fun as possible. Being virtual can kind of be a little difficult with that. Weight training. This is something that we're going to be working on. Use of weights to make muscles stronger or bigger, improving muscular strength and endurance. There's 2 different types: strength development and bodybuilding. In our class, we will be working on strength development. But bodybuilders usually lift more weights, they do less repetitions, which means as many at a time, and they do a different number of sets than someone who doesn't really want big muscles. Bodybuilders want big muscles. Repetition, the number of times you do an exercise, and a set would be a group of repetitions. And those 2 words, sets and repetitions, are going to be words that we will be using a lot, especially when we go back into school. So there's 2 types of weight training equipment: free weights, which are dumbbells, barbells, curl bars, and machines. If you ever gone to the gym, you'll see these machines. It's a system of pulleys to let you be able to control the weight as you lift it. Safety is the number 1 most important thing that we want to make sure that we keep in mind, okay? When we're in the weight room, hopefully we'll be back in there sooner than later. You want to use a spotter. That's somebody who can help you and watch as you're working out, who can take the weight away and help if you can't finish your set. Lifting weights in groups, taking turns so that you can rest, making sure the free weights are secured to the bar, making sure you understand how a machine works, which I'm going to have a video showing you that too, since of course here we are virtual. Not lifting something that's too heavy for you, and exercising both sides of the joint to prevent injury, which we will talk about later as well. And this is very important because a lot of times when people do get into fitness, sometimes they might overtrain or overwork their muscles, which could be harmful. Most adults should be exercising or need to exercise 3 to 5 times a week. However, some people exercise too much, whether it be more times a week or more times in one day. Different signs of that would be you're feeling tired a lot, you aren't doing well during your games. That's supposed to say doing well, not during well. Or practices, or even if you're not in a sport and you're working out at a gym and you're just feeling tired or not yourself. Your resting heart rate increases. We'll talk about what that means later on. And you may get hurt more often or injured more often. This PowerPoint was made to give you guys a brief overview over the things that we're going to be learning throughout the year. I don't want you guys to feel a little too overwhelmed with all this, because it is just kind of like the overview of everything we're going to be going over and working on. All right, what you're going to do next is move on to the next assignment, which is your assessment on this. Remember, you can take it up to 3 times, and I take your highest grade.